And here, the one-man film crew, production team, everything, showing you live at the Snake Busters facility. We're going to feed the girl brown snake now. We screen across, there we go, into the cage. We take the lid off. We have here, rodent, got feet. We haven't taxed it. We do tax the legs, arms and legs. We use them for small snakes. Anyway, as I take the lid off, you can see here through there, the girl, see her in there. She's just under 4-year-old. We've done a video of the male. Take the lid off and we have a snake that's going to come flying out. She's not aggressive at all, but she does like her food. So what we do is we get the food and ready, watch. It's always hard when you're doing 3 things at once. Come on, snake. Maybe it's because it's cold. Eat it, eat it. Come on, eat. Bang. There she goes. She's got a good grip. She's a girl. She's a bit darker today. She's actually normally lighter than a boy. She's got some nice speckling on her. And she's of course a Victorian eastern brown snake, scientific name Bicuculata, and she's using the venom. She doesn't have to kill it. Devenomized surgically by ourselves. We are the only people at Snake Busters with the expertise, well I should say Snake Busters are the only people with the expertise in this country to surgically devenomize our snakes. They've all been vet checked, they've all been certified, and they are all risk free. We've even tested them on our children. Well, actually, we haven't tested them on our children. We've used our children just to prove that they're safe for everyone's kids. We tested them many times by many means, and then, of course, to prove that they were safe, we lined every single one of them up and made them bite myself 3 times in front of all the TV cameras to make sure that everyone knew they were safe. Unfortunately, the Department of Sustainability suppressed the footage of myself taking all those bites because they didn't want people to know that they had been lying for about 5 years at that stage, telling people that our snakes had regenerated venom and were dangerous, when they and everyone else knew they were safe. Anyway, cut a long story short, the lie has been perpetuated for some time that these snakes have regenerated venom, that it's cruel to devenomize snakes and all that. As you can see from this snake, in immaculate condition, bear in mind we're the first people, this is not from the first litter we produced, but we are the first people in the world to have bred the eastern brown snake. That is, the first people to have actually had a pair, to have mated them, to have got eggs and to have hatched them. About 20 years earlier, a herpetologist in Sydney by the name of Richard Wells did acquire a wild caught female that laid eggs, and he successfully incubated the clutch. That was the first time it had been done. We were the second people in the world to successfully incubate eastern brown snake eggs, but in our situation we had actually acquired the parents, had them for about a year or 2 before we bred them, and we've actually bred them manually since for most years, most of the last decade. But having said that, our ones, I must say, don't breed every year. They do breed most. We try not to breed them because no one wants the babies. I only end up with these 2 because no one actually, I had trouble getting rid of them, and then I had one of the a big male died, so I actually had room for 2, if that makes sense. We have a legal requirement on numbers here, so we had space for 2, so we kept 2, and I just got the last 2. They all look much the same. There was 8 or so I think in that litter, or 8 eggs that had hatched, or whatever the going thing was, and I actually kept just a random pair, and I ended up with a male and a female, which was very fortuitous. And these 2 have never been stick-handled in their life. They've always been well treated. They're very civilised. They don't bite. We use them in reptile shows on a regular basis. Not quite as often as the big ones. They've been doing it for many years, but when we get heavily booked like we did on the weekend, we have multiple venues, these 2 sometimes come out. As it happens, we have 10 adult brown snakes now, including these 2 because they're near enough to adults. They're all very good, and we could use any of them, and literally almost at random I just pick any old brown and take them. There's one that's a bit highly strung, I suppose is the way to put it, but the other 9 are all very, very good, very civilised, very well behaved. I mean, you could drop a bomb on them and they won't really get too upset. They're all very good. They're just very good trouble-free snakes. Of the venomous snakes, brown snakes are probably the toughest, most trouble-free of the lot in this country. I mean, it's hard to say because there's always an exception to the rule, but of our brown snakes we've only had death from old age, and in the interim I must say they don't get much in the way of diseases either. Anyway, the phone's ringing, so we're going to kill this video off, and just remember, Snake Busters always have the best reptiles.